still never easy to see that picture. I'm going to share a story of thankfulness and a true testament of God's work. My name is Kellie Jansen, and that is my beautiful daughter. 13 years ago, our lives were forever changed with the news that our baby girl was going to be born 16 weeks early. We were scared, we were hopeful, and we prayed. We prayed hard. We made many promises to God, begging him to save her. Arianna was born weighing 1 pound 8 ounces and measuring almost 12 inches in length. She was tiny, she was fragile, she was very sick, but she was ours. Shortly after she was born, the neonatal team rushed her out of the room, and as they ran by my family, they stopped. And the neonatal physician on call that night spoke these humble words to my family. "I'm only a doctor. This little girl's life is in the hands of God." Those words brought me peace during many of the tough days ahead. As you see in that picture, our daughter's fight was going to be a big one that could not be fought without the power of prayer. Her hands were smaller than my thumbnail. I don't know if you can see in the picture, but her entire hand was wrapped around the top of my finger. Her body was the size of a beanie baby. Her breasts were given by a machine. Her oxygen delivered through a hood. Her skin so thin that it would tear, and her body so fragile that the doctors wouldn't let us touch her. But she was here, and to us, she was perfect. And for that, we were thankful. Over the course of a 4-month hospital stay, we almost lost her multiple times. But she fought hard, and all the while she fought, I continued to picture her cradled in the hands of our Father, just like the doctor said. She was very sick. On the day she turned 10 days old, we got a call. We didn't leave her bed very often, but my husband had convinced me to go out to eat. We got a call while we were eating that we needed to return to the hospital. They didn't think she'd make it through the day. My husband and I decided that we needed to have her baptized. My sister-in-law, we were in a foreign area, we're in Minneapolis, far from our home church. So my sister-in-law called her church in Minneapolis to see if there's a pastor available to do a baptism with no notice on a Friday afternoon. A young man showed up at the hospital just a few hours later to be with us and to baptize our baby daughter. We learned later on that this pastor was brand new, and this was his first baptism. I'm sure he was wondering what was going on. The nurses laid a handmade baptismal gown. We have it right now stored in a shadow box at our house. It looks like a Barbie gown, but they had laid it over her body, and they placed a lace bonnet upon her head. Truly the most beautiful sight we had ever seen. As her family gathered around the isolette where she laid, this young pastor began to do the baptism. Alarms were going off left and right, and as his hands shook in fear, he continued to pray the most beautiful words over her. We took many pictures during our stay at the hospital, but all the baptismal pictures have this prominent light shining through the isolette. God was there. He was cradling her in his hands, just as I had pictured. 100 days after being born so fragile, so tiny, and so sick, and living the roller coaster of the NICU life, a still fragile little girl came home to our house in Alexandria. Today, she stands taller than me and is truly a blessing in our lives. Not a day goes by that God is not thanked for Arianna's life. He is with us, and he is with you. Remember to thank him for the blessings that surround you. Today, she's 13 years old, and while life has not always been easy, she's really enjoying it to the fullest. Many of you prayed for us, and for that, we are thankful. And she's going to sing for you today a song beautifully titled and fitting called Your Hands.